Welcome back to the channel, Crypto Trend Trader here. Today we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin on the daily. But before we get started, I'd like to remind you this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. These markets are extremely volatile, so please do your own research and trade responsibly. So here we have the Bitcoin daily Coinbase chart, and here I just want to take another look at our moving averages here. And as you're familiar with, I do use the same moving averages all the time, but you can pull them up here, and they are available on this free indicator on TradingView. It's the TJD parabolic SAR with binary pivots, or PSAR with B pivots, but you can search it on TradingView and get that for free if you want to use it. And you do have the ability to turn on and off any of these moving averages with ease. But as you'll see down here, we have our 377 is this gray one here that we were basing off consistently, and our 528 is this white one here at the bottom. So what we were finding happening, and then this is our 200 exponential and 200 simple are the two blue ones. When we broke down below here, we came up and retested the 200s as resistance, and then when we failed to break above them, we lost confidence in the market. The whole time we were basing off of this 377 in gray. Once we fell down past the 377 because we couldn't get back above the 200s here, we came down and we tested the 528. Found it as support perfectly, and then shot back up through the 377, through the 200s, and then all the way back above everything else. But then we got the sell-off, and then we continued to sell back off bearishly. And now what did we do? We went right through the 200s, right through the 377, below the 528, overshot it, and then we came all the way back up, and now here we are. We just got that push all the way back up, a big strong move up over the last few days, and we got rejected by the 528, sold back off, and just so happens that it aligns perfectly with the 10. And the whole time for this many days in a row, I mean weeks in a row, we haven't been able to get above the 10. We got that huge move up after 3 days of bullish movement, after essentially a month of bearish movement. We got 3 days of bullish movement up, got rejected immediately, sold back off at the end of the day, and we got essentially like, this is a topping pattern when you see two candles with the wicks the same size and one's red and one's green, or at the bottom if you see the same thing and one's green and one's red, typically it means it's like a reversal pattern. So what this is we got rejected. We tried to break above. This is the daily parabolic SAR, selling off, selling off, selling off. We tried to get above it and violate it, and we couldn't quite take it out right here. Couldn't quite take out the SAR. And then a second time, and the SAR gets lower every time. So it was accelerating. We almost took it out, couldn't take it out, sold back off below our resistance, the 10 in red here and the 528. And now here we are stuck below it again. And we're trying to push up right here essentially, but what I suspect is going to happen is we may push up even as high as the 377 and the 21, all the way up to like 7,900. But I think any opportunity that we push up here is a selling opportunity. I mean, that's not taking into account any kind of resistance. That's literally just our moving averages. And essentially, I'm going to switch to a longer time frame. On the weekly, what it translates to is we found support on the 55 down here, tried to sell off again, came back up, and then closed out. We closed out here, sold off, and then came back up, found support right on it. Okay, and then we pushed up, which is a bullish move. And again, I think we could easily come up to like 79.62, hit this 50 right here. We're above the 89. We could even test the 10 and the 21. All the way back up here is 8,500. But again, I wouldn't get bullish on it. What I think is more likely to happen is, regardless what kind of push we get to the upside, unless we start taking out like previous swings, like all the way up here at like 10.5, I think it's more likely that we're coming down to like the 5,000, 5,250, depending on how long it takes range. And essentially coming down to the 200 weeks, and we'd be testing like the simple and exponential essentially at the same time. So let's just take a quick look. I didn't want to do like a real in-depth video. I mean, not a ton has changed on like the shorter time frames or anything. But basically the inverted head and shoulders played out. We got about half the move we were expecting, and then we found resistance at the top of this channel that we're forming here. There's our low, our higher low, and that lined up perfectly with the high of the move after the low. So it's important you start at the left and draw towards the right, and then the low towards the right. So now, essentially this is where we're at right here. We're at that midline of our channel moving up. We came down here and got the retest. This is the fib from the bottom of this swing right here to the top so far right here. And essentially we came up, topped out, and we came down to the 382, push up, and I suspect what's going to happen here is we're either going to get stopped by the 236 in this area, or possibly like get all the way back up but not take out the high here. And if we don't take out the high here, we're just going to come back down to the next, next reasonable level, which would be the 0.5 of this move up right here. And the 0.5 would come in at the bottom of the channel right around here at our 72.50 range. So I think that's probably going to be, next target potentially could test all the way up to that top of the channel. That same purple, that we tried to bust out of before. And then obviously we have a bunch of like serious fib levels. The one thing that makes me think that it's less likely, that this move right here is over, and that was like our Elliott wave, like third wave. Part of what makes me think that's less likely is, if we were coming from here and we said 1, 2, 3, and we were going to come down here basically and retest in this region, and then we're going to get our 5, whatever. If you were going to say that was essentially our wave right here, what you would want to see is the third wave is often the longest but never the shortest. So it's $853 from bottom to top of that wave. This one is $842. So it's often the longest. The third wave is often the longest, but it's never the shortest. So that would mean that if we came down to, let's say, our target right here, we would have to expect like $825 would be like our max target we could get to. So we could put that basically in line up here, which that would be the breakdown point support from the fib level, which also, and again, I'm not crazy bullish on this asset right now with everything going on, but if you were going to take the target of basically our head and shoulders from right here, that's the measure move of it, and that puts us in line basically perfectly. So I think there's definitely a good possibility, that could be a realistic target for us right here. If we do get that bullish move up off of the head and shoulders lately. So let's see what the indicators got going on. TJD Jewel Thief is saying, we're potentially going to sell off here. We are still moving to the upside bullishly on the TJD TD MACD. We still got the blue slope line, but the histogram is curled over and would had us out of any longs already before this dump right here. When we maxed out and essentially put in that second. When we put in the second attempt at a lower high, and then as soon as we took out this candle right here at 75.49, that low, that's taking us out of the trade. Yeah, because that basically tells us we're hitting the 236, so we potentially topped out already when we come down here. So I mean, I like to use Fibonacci. You can definitely get like a good idea as to where the market's headed, or where you could see a potential like bounce or reversal. Definitely very useful. I mean, you can't really deny that. Because I mean, every time you come back and look at stuff, like you can see it bouncing specifically off like our different fib levels. Like for instance, here was our head and shoulders reversal, and as you can see, if you took the head and shoulder off of us coming down here, and then we came back up here, when we pulled back off of that, you take the fib from the bottom right here to the top right there where we top out and start coming back down. As soon as we hit the 236 right here, you could say we potentially are reversing or retracing rather, and then we pull down, get the bounce off the 382, don't quite make it to the 0.5, bounce back up, and then we come all the way back down exactly to the 618, and then that's when we form the bottom line of this channel. So now we have 2 lines on the bottom, 2 touches on the bottom, and 1 on the top. So as soon as we come back up, and you'll see if you already have this channel drawn based on just those 2 touches on the bottom, and then we draw it in here at the top, I mean, you had the perfect target already set for this sell right here. And then, that obviously, comes into line with the breakdown of previously. And then also, if you look at the moving averages, it lined up perfectly.